This week, Terrifier 3 is being released into theaters all across the globe, so we decided to take a look back at an episode of Mr. Red's Lair featuring Casey Hartnett from Terrifier 2. She shares her experience working with director Damien Leone and star Lauren Lavera, as well as what it's like to be killed by Art the Clown. Oh, and there's a special animation in this episode that's sure to please all the Terrifier fans out there.
Thanks for carpooling with me to the horror convention, Art. It's good for the environment, and that was cool of you to offer to pay for gas. So, have you seen anything good lately? Yeah, I saw Puss in Boots. That was really good. Do you like that character? Puss, I think his name is. Do you like Puss? Hey, if you want, you can play with the radio. I'm an old head. I just like Tupac and the Beatles and soundtracks. What kind of music do you like? I guess I like everything. Oh, look, an advertisement for Cocaine Bear. I'm excited for that. That should be fun. Are you excited for Cocaine Bear, Art? Dude, what is wrong with you? Can you talk? You don't need to be, like, so committed to being a freak. Just talk. Man, if you keep doing that, I'm gonna explode because I'm Middle Eastern. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it, goddammit. Stop it. Stop it.
Hello, 911. I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we began?
Yeah,
Hi,
that's
Casey.
what the claps
Thank
were
you
for.
for coming down to Wild 7 Studios. Thank you for visiting us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Listen, okay, for those of you that don't know, Casey is one of the stars of this film, Terrifier 2. What is Art's problem? Why is he like
Oh,
this?
man.
Why is he the way he is? What is his diagnosis?
There's so many things wrong with him.
Right. Now, first of all, I just let's get down to like basics. Where are you from? Like, how did you come into Terrifier? How did you come into acting?
Yeah.
You know, like where was the amoeba of Casey born?
Where did you come from?
Yeah.
Who is Casey?
I am from Chicago, and I started. My parents put me in dance classes when I was 3. It was one of those things where it was like, okay, let's put her in. And I just kept doing it. I wanted to be in more and more dances and be on stage. Started doing theater when I was 11.
Oh, wow.
And then eventually, just being on stage so much, I eventually was like, no, I want to, like, acting is the path I want to take. I'd never really wanted to be a professional dancer.
Yeah.
It was always acting related. I loved movies. Studied film in college. And then after college, I had my first job working on a film, assisting the producers on an indie film in Chicago. And one of the actresses, she was like, so what do you want to do? And I was like, oh, no, well, I'm an actor. I'm in acting classes. And she's like, okay, here's what you do. Go to New York, go to this school, blah, 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 do all of this. And so I basically from there just moved to New York and studied at a school there, the William Esper Studio.
Nice.
And just started, auditioning for stuff. And
The rest is a terrifying history.
and then eventually I auditioned for Terrifier.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I want to hear about the audition process. Like, how many years
Yeah.
ago was this? And had you heard about Terrifier 1 and the whole history with that?
Yeah. So I auditioned in 2019, and it was a self-tape at first, and I actually hadn't heard of Terrifier, the first one.
Yeah.
My friend at the time, when I got the audition, he's also an actor, and I was telling him about it, and he was like, "Oh my God, I saw it's on Netflix."
Yeah.
He's like, "I watched it with my sister. It's wild. It's insane. It's
Yeah.
crazy." And he was like, "You're going to be in the next Terrifier." I was like, "Well, I don't know. Calm down.
Yeah.
I don't know yet."
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I just did a self-tape. And then Lauren Lavera, who plays Sienna, we did a chemistry read
Okay.
call back in person. And then after that, Damien had me do like a screaming scene. But
Yeah,
that was
I
also
love it.
self-tape in my apartment.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like in my apartment in Brooklyn and I'm screaming bloody murder.
Yeah.
And my neighbor comes
my
and knocks on the
gosh.
door and it's just like, I'm just making sure you're okay. Actually, it was really funny. They were like, I wasn't sure if you were getting murdered or having really weird sex.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, that would be weird sex.
You didn't put a
Um,
sign on your door that was like filming in process. Don't be
I
alarmed.
don't. I know I should have. I didn't. And then, yeah, I didn't do it again. I was like, I don't want to like alarm any other neighbors. So I literally just sent that tape to Damien. I was like, my neighbor thought it was convincing, so hopefully you do too.
Oh wow.
Here's
I love that.
Directors love those weird, funny little things like, oh, people thought I was actually getting killed, and they're like, oh
Right.
yeah, it's an
Yeah.
honor.
It's like
Yeah.
convincing. That's
Question.
super awesome.
Where did they shoot Terrifier 2?
all over New York. They filmed some in Philly, but we were on Staten Island, filmed a little in the city, and then upstate New York near Albany as well.
Oh. How many days were you on it?
Oh gosh. Well, the death scene alone took 5 days. And
Which-
then
That makes
By
sense.
the way,
That
I
makes
gotta
sense.
say this, okay? You have a golden ticket now because you were in one of the greatest death scenes in a horror film ever. You could spend
Yeah.
you didn't want to act anymore. You could go to conventions for the rest of your life and just milk this beautiful jewel you've been given. Like this is
it truly is like one of the most iconic death scenes I've ever. By the way, this is a spoiler zone, so for all of our fans watching, we're going to be talking about spoilers.
yeah.
And
If you
we're
haven't
talking
seen Terrifier 2, get freaking with it and
Yes,
watch it. You know,
it's an
like,
amazing
great. She's
horror
awesome.
film. Yeah, and side note, when I saw it in theaters, I was just like in shock for the 3 hours, and it was just like such a fun experience. It was definitely, it was like the funnest film I've seen all of 2022. But I did see the interview after the film, in the post-credit scene, with Damien and David.
yeah.
Yeah. With Bloody Disgusting, and they're talking about how originally you guys had less days to do it, but because of the pandemic, you guys had more days to film that scene, this crazy
Yeah.
death scene featuring you playing Allie.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Like you guys were filming this while the pandemic was happening, like in 2020?
Yes.
Crazy.
We filmed in December of 2020, but
Dang,
we
that's
had started filming the scene in February of 2020, right before
Oh,
the
shit,
lockdown,
yeah.
Uh-huh.
of course. And so we had only filmed one day, and there was something about it where I could tell Damien was like, this isn't quite as cray-cray as I want it to be.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like the pandemic actually gave us more time
Yeah.
and Damien more time to flesh it out a bit more. He added some more prosthetics. There was like, I think, spoiler, but I think the first effect, the eye slash, wasn't even in the script.
Okay.
He just kind of, that was
Oh my
something that was
gosh.
I
added
just
as
showed
well.
one of our interns and it traumatized them.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
It's so good.
I was like, check this out. You know.
I find it so bizarre that it's like all over the internet, and I'm like, but it's too gory for the kids.
Oh my god! No,
my gosh.
I'm telling you. You know, one time I don't know if you've heard of this film, The Room, the one that
Yeah,
you know.
uh-huh.
I once met the guy,
Okay.
and this was before The Disaster Artist came out, and it was just when the movie was basically what's happening with Terrifier 2, where it was blowing up. Like I hadn't seen
Right.
anything like it, and there was that one guy that plays his best friend in it, like kind of looking at all of us and being like, hey, this guy's a knucklehead, right? And then my friend who was working the camera went off with Tommy Wiseau to go do something. And then it was just me and that guy, Greg, the guy that plays the best friend. And I told him, and I'm saying this to you as well, like, I know film history when I see it. You're a part of something big. This is huge. I mean, the audience that I was
Wild.
seeing, they were going nuts. They were teenagers.
Yeah.
Wonderful teenagers. They were
Yeah.
having so much fun. It was
Yeah.
so wholesome.
Yeah, the
It was
audience
great.
is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's wild. It's
It must be crazy to see it too. Like, did you see? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Like, did you have like a screening, or did you see it in theaters, or like how was that experience watching it on screen for the first time?
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Full disclosure: the first time I watched it, I was a little drunk.
As you should
And
be.
we were we were in Austin and at Fantastic Fest in
Oh, okay.
Austin. And we had 2 screenings of it. The first screening, you know, we were all just super excited, and we had all gone out to dinner before and just really excited to go watch the movie. And it's so funny, like a few people who were sitting, like people were just like, okay, like just ordering drinks. They're like, okay, we're watching this movie for the first time.
Yeah.
Like I need a couple drinks before I like dive in. But I was sitting next to Sarah Voigt, who plays Barbara in the movie, and we're sitting there, and I watched the scene for the first time. I'm cringing. I probably only really saw like half of it because I was like so low in my seat, just cringing the whole time. And Sarah the whole time, she's like, what is happening? What? And she's like, you're going down in history. I was like, you are too, but also, and then the second time at the second screening we watched it, I fully watched it, zoned in. I was had no alcohol in my system. Watched it, focused on it, and I got really upset. Like it like made me sad. I was like, oh my God, poor girl. I was like, I was like, stop. What's happening to her? It was like
convincing enough for you to like trick your brain to thinking this girl is,
well,
dying.
It was, I think too, it looks so good, and Damien did such a great job with the effects and with the editing of the whole scene.
So he edited and he did special effects, right?
He did.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Yeah.
It is very impressive.
That's awesome.
Question. So for those of you who haven't seen it, again, shame on you. You should watch it. You're on a bed. You're covered in blood. Was it that sticky Caro syrup blood?
It was.
It was?
Well, it was fairly sticky. I remember, I was sitting on a pool of that blood on the bed, and just like the more takes we did, it was just very cold. It was the middle of December, very cold, like sticking to the bed. But then when we were doing the crawling part, where I'm crawling on the floor to try to get to my phone, David specifically remembers me getting stuck to the carpet. Like after we did that take, I just basically peeled myself off the carpet.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
But
oh my God, all day too. Like that is, you're a trooper.
When you're doing that kind of scene, and you said it took many days, how do you manage your mood? You know what I mean? Like, are you irritated? Are you kind of sad, or are you bummed? How do you feel in those moments?
That is a really good question. I mean, obviously acting is kind of a bizarre thing sometimes, but I don't like to, I like to go in and out of it. Yeah. I like to separate myself. No, I like to separate myself from it. So I've, taught myself how to, well, not taught myself, but through my training, I've learned how to do that. So, we were just having so much fun. Yeah. Honestly, it was such a fun shoot. Those 5 days were so, there were a lot of effects, we were doing a lot, but it was like, I think we were also, just kind of delirious within like the moment of what we were doing, and so excited to do it that, it was like a lot of screaming and a lot of like, okay, like mentally, like, okay, get in that place where it's like, okay, I'm dying, and it's like really like a horrible, a scary place to be in, but also like as soon as they called cut, everyone's like, I'm bloody, and we're all like, what's up? We're all just like,
you probably have so many cool behind the scenes pictures.
Oh my gosh.
Another logistical question, just because I'm fascinated by this. Say the day is done when you're shooting those gory scenes and stuff. Yeah. What's the protocol for, like, you're sticky, you're a gingerbread person, practically. Oh, gosh. What do you do? Do they have a hose or something? What's the thing?
Or they just send you on your way, like,
bye. Okay, bye. Thank you.
So by the end, when I had all the prosthetics on, I remember soaking in a tub for a bit, and then I showered, got all the blood off, and then it was basically just me sitting there with like 5 people scraping prosthetics off.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was like Damien has a solution that he uses that smells like Fruit Loops.
Oh wow. Okay.
For some reason.
That's nice.
And then it was nice. It was pleasant. But we were all just like sitting around scraping the prosthetics off by the end of it.
Okay. So I gotta ask you, what's this Damien Leone like? What kind of man is he that he put such a nice person through such an ordeal?
It's so funny because he's a very thoughtful, more reserved and quiet person. but he is also just one of the nicest people.
I knew it.
And it's
I knew it. I knew he was a nice guy. I knew he was a nice guy.
really a nice
And
guy.
I'm
So
happy
is
to hear you're a
David.
nice guy.
Yeah, I've heard.
David is this gentleman, right?
David
Yeah.
is the clown.
Art.
Yes,
Art.
yes.
He plays art. Yeah. They are both two of the most genuinely kind people I've ever met and
I feel
worked
like
with.
it's always that way. It's like, people that work in like the horror space, you assume because they're making such horrific films that they're a little, I don't know, something. But I mean, we're in that space too.
Yeah.
So
We're known
I
to be
assume that
nice.
about him.
Yeah.
Like when I first met Nas, he sent me his script, Debbie and the Devil. And I read it. And I was like, this is demented. Like, and I'm meeting this guy. I'm going to meet this guy for coffee, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
should I? And
Yeah.
he was like the nicest guy
Yeah.
ever. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So
I'm
yeah.
an angel.
Yeah.
I always
Nice.
assume that horror directors are just like the sweetest people and people that play
Yeah.
clowns as well.
I mean, yeah, it's wild because I never, and you can tell right away with a person, and Damien in his casting process too was like, I need to make sure that these are people who are not going to give me too much of a hard time.
Right.
Yeah.
Going through such an intense filming process with, because every character, has to go through some sort of really intense moment. With any like death scene or anything like that. So, and then also like Damien's also just such a nice guy where like if you had any concerns at all, it's like no one, at least for me, I can't, speak for other people, but at least for me and what I got from being on that film was that like, you could communicate something. If you were nervous about something or you were like, I just want to make sure this will make me more comfortable for the scene.
Right.
And he was just so open to those ideas and to like talking about that and making sure that everyone felt comfortable.
Interesting.
And
Super
It's
important
very
on set.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Leonie, you're a good man. You're a good man. You passed the test.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved
I have
it.
to ask, making an independent film can be rough sometimes and stuff. Were there any tensions on set? Like, especially
Course.
with gore? Yeah. Any specific, any tea you'd like to spill for us? Anything? We love gossip here.
I mean, it was just such long hours. I feel like there was always something. I mean, there's always something in indie films where it's like, I feel like it was more for like on the production side rather than for
Yeah.
me, of course. And of course that happens with productions, but it's like with indie films, it's like, okay, do we have enough paint for this wall? Do we have enough,
Like blood
like
or
blood,
time to
like
set of the blood.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do we have enough time to do all of this? And, we, and you end up making it work.
Right.
But I mean, of course, there's always
Like you can feel
something.
the stress and
and it's long hours, it's long days.
Yeah.
People aren't sleeping enough.
How many
most
hours
times.
were you guys filming? Like just traditional 12 or like longer?
Sometimes it was longer.
Yeah.
And like I know, Lauren and David were, put through the ringer a bit. But
Yeah, I bet.
but very long hours. But I know, it was, some days were shorter, some days were very long.
Yeah.
So
But I love these, projects where everyone's just down to
exactly.
commit to make something as great as this film,
Yeah,
It's all worth it
absolutely.
in the end.
Absolutely.
All that being said, do you feel like a sort of filmmaking family was formed?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Magical, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone got along so well.
You're kind of forced to for spending that much time together. But no, it's
Yeah.
all part of the process.
But
Like,
it was,
you're chosen because of, I'm sure the chemistry and everything. So.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in the universe.
Yeah.
Call me cheesy for that, but
You're in the
Little
right zone.
manifestation.
I love that. I love that because I really do believe that things happen for a reason, and I do believe that there's a reason why specific people end up, meeting and coming
Yeah.
together to create something.
Yeah.
And we just had a really great group of people who really believed in the project and were excited to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Damien's relieved by that, but
Yeah. No, he
yeah.
should be really proud of what he accomplished. I mean, the audience that I saw it with was like, they were they were a bunch
Yeah.
of teenagers that loved this stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Yeah.
and I could feel just the filmmaking
It's-
joy. In
Yeah,
the
it was
film.
such a fun film. Like I was just browsing my AMC app and just seeing what movies were available that weekend. And I was shocked to see Terrifier 2 because I hadn't really been keeping up with it too much. I had seen, Terrifier 1 back in like 2016 or whenever that came out.
Yeah.
But then I saw it and I was like, oh my God. And I sent a group text to my girls who had seen this movie with me. And I was like, you guys, we have to go watch this in theaters. I hadn't even seen a trailer or anything. and I went to the theaters, and it was just like gnarly. And for someone who is desensitized to most horror, like both of us are,
we're pretty
this film
demented,
was like, I mean, it's the first that I've seen in a long time that really like made me feel sick to my stomach.
Oh shoot, yeah.
And with hardly any breaks in between, where you can just kind of like, there's like hardly any comedic relief, but there's like the perfect amount, and it's just.
Right.
I loved it so
She
much.
came the next day gushing about it like a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I got to go see it. And then I went with my buddy Alex, shout out Alex Rogers.
Right.
And we went to Del Amo Fashion Center, made a little trip, about an hour and a half or hour with traffic and stuff. And it was just fun, man.
Yeah.
It was just a great time.
And it's great because it's like, and we talk about like the scene, and it's like, that's your scene. Like, that's pretty epic. You know what I mean? So
there's Janet Leigh in Psycho. And then there's you. You're in great company. Yeah.
That's really exciting. Yeah.
But I have to ask, are you a little drained? I imagine you're doing a lot of interviews with horror stuff and stuff like that.
I was. I mean, admittedly, a little drained, but I mean, I was doing a lot of interviews before the holidays, and like the winter holidays, and I put up that boundary for myself a little bit and was like, I'm taking a break. And it's also the holidays.
Right.
So I'm taking a break, of course. And so that was,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was nice to like have that time, but it's also one of those things where I, embracing that and just kind of going along for the ride, because it's not going to be forever. And I just want to enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Exactly.
give myself time to rest when I can, and then kind of go back into it so that I don't get burned out, of course, because I don't want to like not, I don't want to get burned out from it. But I think it's like just really exciting, the attention it's gotten, and the fact that, hopefully more opportunities are opening up for everyone involved, and we'll see.
Yeah,
it will last forever. You can milk this in the convention circuit. I'm telling you, you'll make a lot of money. I'll be your manager. No, you probably don't. But what's it called?
Yeah, that's cool.
All that being said, what was your family's reaction to the film?
Like, are they
Or
big into
friends
horror?
or loved ones or anybody close?
So I have some friends and family who I don't think will watch it. My dad did go to the theater by himself because my mom refused.
That's so funny.
She was too nervous, but she does want to see it.
Yeah.
But she's like, I want to like watch it at
her
home.
daughter
maybe.
go through that.
Yeah,
that
I think
must be
that
hard.
was. Yeah, I don't know. She's just nervous, but she wants to watch it though. But my dad went to the theater by himself. It was like him and like a bunch of 20-year-olds or something. It's like they're all like 20, 17, I don't know. But he liked it. He enjoyed it, and he was like watching in watching that scene. He was just like, he goes, that was gross. And then he goes, but then it was so long, I just had to laugh. I think there's this like uncomfortable laughter that has to happen for most people.
Oh my gosh, right.
Pretty much hit the magic of the scene on the head, no pun intended. But like, it's just that it goes to such an extreme that you have no choice but to laugh. It's so, and I say this in full compliments to Leonie. I'm not dissing you. It's absurd. Like, it goes to an absurd level where it's like, okay, come on, Art, calm down. Why are you doing this? And then he comes back.
Like, it's so
Right.
and then the salt sprinkle and everything. Oh my God. Like,
funny.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
you just sit there and think like, what's the most horrific thing that I could do to someone? And that's exactly what they do to you. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
great.
wild.
Right.
But
yeah.
I can't imagine like your family's reaction and like,
Yeah.
but also like,
I have friends who watched it too, and they enjoyed the movie. And I have another friend who was like, am I a horrible person for like laughing? And I'm like, no, I think that's like that a lot of
That's a
people
natural
say
reaction.
that has been their reaction.
If she's a horrible person for laughing, I am Dahmer. I don't know.
I mean, horror and comedy are so intertwined, so
Yeah,
Exactly.
they
that's
really
a
are.
part of your reaction when you're experiencing horror and these things. Like,
Exactly.
so.
And there's comedy and tragedy,
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
Yeah,
Let's-
totally.
let's go back to Chaplin for a sec. Like there's, that's what that's what he stood for, really.
Yeah. No,
That's-
for
Yeah,
real.
exactly.
You know what's funny? I just recently saw what was it? City Lights.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
that last shot
Yeah.
where he had this look. It's Harper. I'm gonna get emotional. I'm not gonna cry on this. But like he looks at the woman and he's like she recognizes him and he's so happy. That's beautiful. And the thing is, like, I think our generation, I'm way older than you. I'm an old head. But like I grew up on like say Ghostbusters and stuff, and Beetlejuice and stuff like that. And I know certainly April is a big Tim Burton thing. I think a lot of our bonding as filmmakers comes from that.
And horror films, of course.
Yeah, and to us, humor and horror, those wires have always been crossed.
Yeah.
And so when it comes together in a beautiful film like this, Terrifier 2, it's just really exciting. It's really great. And, you know, thank you for coming down. So
Yeah, and congrats again. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have one question
Go
too.
ahead.
Did you always want to be in a scene like this? Like, was being in a horror film a big goal of yours? Did you manifest this, or did it just kind of come?
I never thought I would be in a scene like this, only because I am such a like. I mean, David even says this in the Bloody Disgusting commentary. He's like, she's such a reserved, quiet person.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
he
just
said great things about you in that interview.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, very nice, but like but it's also funny because like I grew up with people being like, oh, you want to be an actor, you're gonna have to speak up, you're gonna have to like, you know, and I'm like, well, when I'm on stage, like, you know, I'll do it. But I also think that in the last couple of years, in 2019 in particular, I was also doing another play that was very intense about essentially about like bipolar disorder. And so I was going through a lot of like depressive lows and manic highs. And that director, and then having Damien cast me in this, I started to feel like, okay, maybe I can do this, rather than, you know, I always thought I would do, you know, the dramedy or something, something like that, which I also love. I love those movies as well. But I think it's been really reassuring for me to know that people that I can do that, and that people have seen that in me as an actor. And so I think that there was something that I, you know, from growing up and people being like, well, you're so quiet, how are you going to be an actor?
Right. You know what you should tell them? Go fuck yourself.
You know?
Yeah.
Listen,
Happens a lot, but just gotta stay true to yourself. You know?
I got to tell you, as an old man in this thing, I've been here for a while. You don't have to do anything. You already did the thing of putting yourself in a great film and stuff. Now you just be you, do jobs, get gigs and stuff like that. You don't have to do shit. I hate
not to be
people in this
cheesy, but
business.
yeah, the only thing that matters is like you believing that you can do it. That's
Right.
the only thing that matters.
That's it.
Yeah, I love that,
people in this
yeah.
business are dumb because they are always telling young people what they have to do and
How
what
they
they
should
can
be, how
say,
you should do
they
certain
be,
things.
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, you're an old head. I'm an old head. You know, like,
Yeah.
listen to me. You're doing fine.
Right.
Yeah, thank
Terrifier
you.
2. Yes. Now listen, I got to put this out there, okay? I want to get Leone in here. Putting it out there. Leone, it's you and me.
It is pronounced Leone. isn't it?
Leone, right?
Yeah.
Like Sergio Leone. The
Yeah.
great Sergio Leone. I
Yeah.
respect you,
I
my
wasn't
man.
sure.
I'm happy to hear that you treated Casey with respect, right?
Absolutely.
Absolute respect. If I heard anything else, it would have been bad. We would have been enemies or something. Also, I want to give a special thank you to Jesse for arranging this.
Yeah.
Jesse was the script supervisor on Debbie and the Devil, and he's a filmmaker as well, and he's making his feature and stuff.
This is our movie.
This is our movie. This is your movie, and they're schoolmates.
Yeah,
They are.
Don't they look like
They're friends. They're
you know what I
friends.
think?
They go to the same private school.
And you
Yes.
know what it is? I think Debbie took art to prom. Like they did
Oh
the
my God.
friend
Oh
my
prom
God.
thing. You know, and then Art was like, you know, and she's like,
Exactly.
can you just not act like that?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah, cool stuff.
I love
Good
that. I
stuff.
think so.
Listen, Casey, thank you so much for coming down.
Yes. Thank you
And
for
stuff. So
having
what are
me.
your big
And,
plans
yeah.
for the rest of LA?
What are my big plans? I'm gonna do some hikes when it stops raining.
If there's no mudslides,
Yeah.
of course.
it's been nice just seeing some friends and family who live out here. So,
Yeah. Cool,
and
cool,
sort
cool.
of just
Go to Amoeba, see if they got this, and then
Okay.
just kind of be like, you got to hotshot people every once in a while. You know how I said I hate how people tell people what to do? I don't like that. But you got to hotshot every once in a
Yeah.
while. Just flex a little
I'll
bit. Be
try
like,
it
I'm in
out.
this. It made like millions of dollars. Hello, you know, like just be like that. Flex a little bit. Be
So
arrogant.
wild.
Be arrogant. You made it, kid.
Oh
You made it.
gosh.
You made it to LA. Very happy. Very good. April, do you have any
Yeah.
other questions for Casey? This is fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, just anything that you're watching these days, anything fun that you recommend to us?
Yeah, what's your jams?
Oh gosh, I love so many movies, but yeah, recently I just saw Broker last night,
Nice.
the South Korean movie.
Yeah.
That was lovely.
That's on my list.
Yeah, and then I recently watched, Tar and
Yeah.
After Sun and Don't Worry, Darling. Even
Okay, I saw that too.
What did you think of that one?
It's such a conversation.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it though.
I
have
did
the
too.
conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up Andrew Tate, that idiot, too. He's in
God.
jail.
God.
Oh
Thank God.
no,
He's in jail.
no.
Yeah.
I know.
Loser.
Off topic. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we hate
I
Andrew
got to say something about Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it. I enjoyed it. I genuinely think
So did
people
I.
were really hard on it because of sexism.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right?
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, it's an ongoing
you.
discussion with
Yeah.
April and I.
Like there's the drama overshadowed like the actual movie, and then people grew resentment towards Olivia Wilde.
Yep.
And we all kind of almost like hated her. Like all of us came together and just decided that Olivia Wilde is canceled. But I didn't because I hate doing that.
No.
And I respect what she does. I like her
Yeah.
films, and so I saw it and I actually enjoyed it a lot.
I thought it was well made.
I
It
did
was
too.
really well made. Like and the cinematography too is
Yeah, it bothered me because, especially after Booksmart, and a couple even shorts that Olivia Wilde did, I was like, I want to work with her. And
Yeah.
then people started, shit talking her
Yeah.
for "Don't Worry, Darling," and
this happens all too often.
and then
where
when
they
I saw
pin
it-
these two women against each other, like
Right.
it's like
exactly
Team Florence. Why
Yeah.
can't there be both?
'Cause it's
Let's not
entertaining.
pit, but yeah, and I was so excited for "Don't Worry, Darling," and then it's like people started talking
Yeah.
poorly about it, and I just watched it and was like, I'm still a fan. So
Yeah,
Exactly.
Great.
And that's the other thing. I think people are way too cynical these days. Most movies I see that people are like smack talking on them, they're fine.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like them.
yeah.
You know, like
Especially as filmmakers, it's like we understand how hard it is to make a movie, and
exactly.
so we'll never like shit talk a movie and
Yeah.
just say it was like awful. Like no, I mean there's something great about every film, but like these films are being made and shown in theaters because they're great. They're not just good; they're like actually great.
Yeah.
So it's like how
No.
bad can it really be?
Yeah.
it's like if
And also, sorry,
ahead.
art is art. I mean, no pun intended there, but I just mean, it bothers me when people are so insanely critical of artists because it's like, well, that's what they did, and that's what that's
Yeah.
what came from their creative mind.
It's subjective. Yeah, like we don't all
Exactly.
have to agree,
yeah,
and that's
And
what's
just-
beautiful about
yeah,
the scene is like there's room for all kinds of creatives, to pave the
Yeah.
way.
Exactly.
And,
That's why
Yeah.
I can get kind of snippy with people when they're too hard on artists because it's like
yeah.
I'm pretty good about like keeping people distant. April
Yeah.
knows this.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
keep everybody at a distance.
Sure.
But like it's like when somebody says something about something that you created, you put everything into it, you just want to shut up. You know what I mean? And it's like with
Yeah.
filmmaking, it's especially. But again, that Don't Worry, Darling was a good film. I'm putting that on record. Did you see Babylon?
I haven't yet.
It was
Yeah.
pretty good. It was good.
Yeah,
I haven't
Good.
either, and I've
It was good.
But I know
Everything is
that's-
good.
Yeah,
it's on my
Everything
list.
is good.
That's the thing is I never people like I usually like movies.
Yeah.
Like it might not be my favorite movie of all time, but
Yeah.
when I see a movie, I usually end up I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Right. You saw it.
And
it was
all of
good.
its
Yeah.
glory.
Didn't
yeah.
offend
Exactly.
you. You know. Like
Did you see Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio?
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen Pinocchio yet. That's on my list.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I told
great.
them it's my favorite of the year.
Oh gosh.
So
Yeah, I
good.
need to see that.
Very
Stop
good.
motion, but it's so beautiful. It's so depressing and just
Yeah.
it's very Guillermo. Dark
Not
and beautiful.
movie, but did you watch Wednesday?
I have.
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed Wednesday.
Fun,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
I
Yeah.
was like dead sick on New Year's Eve, and that was the perfect thing to watch while my brain is mush.
There you
know
go.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, a lot of
entertainment.
fun shows this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
White
got
Lotus.
you got flicks like
Oh my God, I
Broker.
love White Lotus.
So good.
You
I
guys, I
love
saw
White
the first
Lotus.
episode. Very good. Very good.
You have to watch it.
I'm gonna
White
watch
Lotus
it.
is like
I'm
probably
just-
my favorite show of the whole year.
I'm just
Yeah.
bad
Same.
with shows. It's hard for me to commit.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know
what I
they're
mean?
so good.
It's a
yeah.
problem of mine.
No, it was a great year for horror specifically.
It was.
And, we talked about this on one of our last podcasts. You were like, what are the best horror films of the year? And I mean, Terrifier 2 was definitely on that list. So,
Yeah.
it was an amazing year. I mean,
No, April, we
Barbarian,
have one of
Pearl, like just
Yeah,
everything.
one of the stars of Terrifier 2. I think it was the best horror film of this past year.
Yeah.
Forget
Thank
all
you,
the other.
yeah.
Babylon. Wait, was Babylon one of
no,
them?
Barbarian?
Babylon was one.
Barbarian, yeah.
It was better than Barbarian.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was better than Smile because I hated Smile because it was so scary. It was really scary. That
No,
Smile.
with horror, it's like there's so many like different like you have to choose what's the scariest film, what was the most entertaining, like what was the
Yeah.
whatever most polished, and then you choose your favorites. And
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no really there's no competition on
My-
horror films. It's like
My rubric for like horror films, and she's right, they're all different. Like Barbarian was one way, Smile was one way.
Yeah.
Terrifier for me delivered what I look for in a horror experience, where it's a crowd of people,
yeah.
and they're just having fun,
Yeah.
throwing popcorn in the air practically.
Yeah.
and it's just fun.
And then
it
you hear
delivered that.
that people are throwing up watching the
Yeah,
film. Like I'm sure that actually happened.
It
Sometimes,
did.
Yeah. It's very much like The Exorcist. I love that. And
Yeah.
you don't really have that, you don't
That's
hear
so
that
great.
happening
Yeah.
too often
It's
in this day and age where we're so desensitized to like the world
exactly
and everything. So
Yeah.
These
cool.
two,
It's cool shit.
after school, they go and smoke pot in
They
the
do.
back recess and stuff. Casey, thank you so much for coming down to the
Thank
lair.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks for
it.
having
Thank
me.
you.
Yeah,
Is there
it's been
anything you'd
great.
like to plug away?
Yeah, what do you like
Terrifier?
currently
What are you
working
working
Oh
on?
Yeah.
gosh, what am I doing? I'm filming a short film next week, but so that'll be fun.
Oh, wow.
It's horror related.
Fun.
Nice.
So keep you guys posted on that.
love
But
that.
yeah, right now I'm just sort of in some writing stages, some development stages, trying to
Nice.
get some stuff produced.
Nice.
Yeah, we have
So-
That's the
writer,
biz.
producer, actor.
Yeah.
Casey.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so we'll see. Hopefully I'll have more updates soon.
Yes.
But for
Awesome.
now,
Sweet.
yeah.
And
Amazing.
Leone, if you don't come in here, but he will. Leone, good film. Good film. Our kids, they're
Yeah,
friends.
hopefully we'll have more of the cast and crew from Terrifier 2 on our podcast one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing that at manifesting.
Let me just do this for the YouTube Reels or Instagram Reels. Terrifier 2, Debbie and the
This
Devil.
just
They're
came in, and I'm
friends.
so excited.
They love each other, and they're good friends. They understand each other. They're experiencing a coming-of-age trauma
Yeah,
about high
exactly.
school. Yeah, Casey,
Oh,
you're
I would
the
watch
best.
that.
I love that.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for coming down to the lab.
amazing. And
Boom.
do you do the music to?
No, I'm gonna do it all in post.
Okay.
I'm too
Well, where
lazy.
can
Fuck
we
it.
find
Yeah.
you online?
Let's see. My Instagram is just my name, Casey Hartnett. I am on Twitter as a college nickname called Case McChase.
Okay, love that.
Nice.
And
need to get on Twitter.
I do have a Facebook page, which is also just Casey Hartnett,
Okay.
actor page.
Nice.
Cool.
But yeah, I post updates
Cool.
about
Awesome.
life.
Instagram is where it's at. I gotta get on that Twitter game.
Nice. Isn't it lovely that you came from Chicago to escape bad weather,
Yeah,
only to come to more bad weather? Like
I
LA.
probably brought it. But
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No.
That's
no,
how I
no,
feel
no.
about the sun, because like whenever I try to leave California and I go somewhere else, I'm like, I want to experience the rain. Like I'll go to Seattle or Portland or Ireland. It's the hottest day of the year when you get there, and it's like,
Of course.
of course,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you're trying to escape it. You bring it with you.
Yeah.
The universe is like, this is your thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a question. Do you think you'll ever spread your wings out here and just kind of like stay in LA for
Come
a
to
second?
LA.
It's on my mind.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
mind.
I promise
You-
it's
you
way
got-
sunnier than this.
Let me tell you something. You got friends here.
Thank
Wild
you.
7, we're friends too,
I
Casey.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you so much
yeah,
for coming down.
That makes
Thank
me
you
want to
so
move here. So
Hey, cool. And I just want to say again, thank you, Jesse. You're the best. Jesse is the man.
Shout out,
and,
Jesse.
Looking forward to everything that Jesse is doing because he's a super talent. Love you.
Yes.
Wild 7.
Awesome,
Yes.
guys.
Awesome.
And you can
Thank you
find
so
me
much.
on Instagram at April Debex. And follow Wild 7 Studios at Wild
Yeah.
7 Studios.
I'm on Instagram, Mr.NosRed. I'm on Twitter, Mr. NosRed. And yeah, everything else, just follow Wild 7. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Stay up to date
Just
with
do
all
it.
of our projects and all of our new IPs coming out. Lots for you in 2023. We're excited.
Yes. And thank you again. Thank you for visiting the studio. It's been a true honor.
it
Thank
has. Thank you.
Captain Morgan, we're good.
All right.
Please take a moment and hit those like and subscribe buttons. While a small gesture, it really means a lot to Wild 7 Studios and allows us to continue creating meaningful and fun content for your viewing pleasure.